are unable to debate with Israel because what's happened so far is we're witnessing the sick relationship between the United States and Israel, where basically the United States has given a permission for Israel to have genocide on ground. And what's happened is we're seeing no one can say no to Israel. The United Nations isn't able to say no to Israel without repercussions. Media figures aren't able to say no to Israel without repercussions. So what ends up happening is that you're basically raising a spoiled brat you're unable to say no to, that has now grown up to be a sociopath. It's not a war. A war assumes that both parties are on equal footing. The killing of civilians on both parts ought to be condemned. But the danger in you starting an interview asking me to condemn Hamas then pours into Israel's blind defense of its own state, which ends up killing over 5,000 Palestinians. The narrative has got to change.
Okay,
the idea, for example, I don't have the PR of Israel. I don't have the money to hire the Justin Biebers of the world and have them say, pray for Israel and whatnot. If the United Nations, that's whole premise was to avoid this kind of genocide, was created to avoid this kind of humanitarian crisis, cannot stand up to one foiled brat of a fascist organization, then where are we in this world? And what's sad is that it's a top-down movement. You have the United Nations unable to speak to Israel. You also have the people at work who cannot hold the Palestinian flag, who get fired on the spot. I've had people who work in New York text me and tell me that they've been fired on the spot.
Another question.
You know what else I've had that unfortunately I cannot show? Screenshots of emails from prominent news channels where anchors, where younger people are emailing producers, emailing one another, begging, why aren't we showing the other side? Why aren't you showing the other side?
You've accused Israel of genocide.
We need a ceasefire because the world is in danger.
Well,
I have accused Israel of genocide. I am accusing Israel of genocide.
And I'm simply saying to you, Israel has a right to defend itself. The question now is
women and children?
Let me finish my point, Rahma.
Look at the evidence.
Let me finish my point.
How many Palestinians have died? You apply international law. You allow the United Nations to do its job. When the Hamas situation happened, for example, it was supposed to be the Red Cross to go and negotiate. Israel is stopping all of that. On top of that, it's also terrorizing the media. On top of that, it's also terrorizing individuals. On top of that, it has money being poured in from the United States. On top of that, it has the backing of the European Union. On top of that, it has the backing of Britain that started this whole farce. So what ends up happening is who's speaking for the Palestinian people. So for a solution to happen, you need to empower the United Nations so that Israel is not making a mockery of the United Nations. How am I needing to reiterate this more and more? I am giving you a solution. If you occupy a people, if women in labor are having to give birth at checkpoint, if you're having people imprisoned, if you're having this merciless bombardment of Palestinians, you are going to breed Hamas. It starts with the stronger party.
I hear you, and I respect your right to your opinions, and I've given you the platform to air them, and I appreciate you coming on the program. Thank you very much.
Call for a ceasefire then.
That's not my job. My job is to try and interview people at the centre of this. You may not like that, but it is. I appreciate you coming on the program. Thank you.
Interviews, sure.
It wasn't sensational. It wasn't. But thank you very much.